All right. Was it a break week last week? Did I record a chapter of One Piece last week? I don't remember. Well, if so, I believe we ended the Brook flashback last I checked, so hopefully we can actually see the plot move forward at this point. And because it's been about a few days since I've been live, I've updated my drivers. Hopefully there's going to be a lot less dropped frames moving forward. I'm not entirely sure what's been causing it, to be honest. I'm assuming it's because the drivers are old and my encoder was having problems. And in other channel news, I'm going to be busy on Tuesday. I'm not going to... If I don't stream tonight and tomorrow night, I will not have another opportunity to stream until Wednesday. So I'm going to try to get the next couple of streams knocked out real quick. So, in fact, after I finish recording this recording for YouTube, if you are watching live, I'm going to be playing some Star Rail after this. So if you are interested in that, you can feel free to stick around after we're done reading. Beyond that, I have like 10 to 12 hours of footage of just the summer event in Genshin. I've edited like 2 hours of it, and I don't know how much of it I'm actually going to leave in, but hopefully I can get that done and have that uploaded on the channel by Wednesday, hopefully. Me streaming is cutting into time that I could be using editing that. Beyond that, there's no big streams planned moving forward. I'm just going to start going through the motions. We're playing Star Rail, we're playing Genshin. As the events come out, we're going to play those. Version 4.4 is going to be dropping in like 8 days. So, not next week, but the week after. That will be something to look forward to, I guess. So, there's going to be some more Star Rail in the recent future. I guess I do have to play through like the whole Moon quest and find out what's going on with the weird Barbeloth fortune-telling thingy in Genshin. So there's at least 2 streams that are going to be related to that, but I'm not entirely sure. There's also, I guess, also Sandrone's tea party thingy, but I don't know how to do that yet because I haven't started it. Some stuff might end up being recorded just for the YouTube channel, some of it might be live. But if you want to know and stay informed, the best way to stay informed would be to follow my Discord, because a lot of people, just heads up, skip these intros where I give all this info dumping. Which is why I also give a similar info dump at the end of every stream. So, if you're skipping forward, shame on you. Alright, let's get into the actual chapter at this point. Chapter 1187. I feel like that number is important. I feel like I've seen that number referenced in other materials. The root of the problem. And we got Reiju on the cover in an art request. So I'm going to skip that. We're going to just move straight on to pages 2 and 3 from here, because I don't really... I miss when there was a cover story. I can't wait until we start the next cover story. I'm kind of... As much as I think it's cool that we get art for these reader requests, I want a cover story. Because I care about story more than I care about cool art. Without further ado, let's move on to pages 2 and 3. Right, last chapter we ended off with Luffy punching Emu. Now we're seeing Loki's reaction to that. Emu's face all bloodied and wide-eyed. And he going flying. Well, that was a pretty interesting image. Alright, as he's flying, he's letting out more of those little fiery will-o-wisp looking things with the creepy smiles on them. That was a pretty good shot. But it only happened because of all the damage I put on him first. Oh, of course these two are going to argue over this nonsense. Hey, are you really hurt? Step back and rest. Right, Loki is not even supposed to be up and about. Based on the injuries he got from Shamrock, he shouldn't even be up and about, based on what Chopper said. Oh, so many chapters ago before we got sucked into 2 different flashback arcs. And I guess this is just some witty banter between Luffy and Loki, so I don't think there's much more to add to these 2 pages, so I'm just going to move on to pages 4 and 5. Oh, the little fire thing's biting Luffy, and it's hot. Is this black fire? I guess that's confirmation now that it's black. I don't remember if we got confirmation that it was black fire in previous chapters. We can assume it was black fire because, like, that's how, like, the Gorosei appear, or at least how they were adapted in the anime. They appear at black flames. He looks scary up close. Who's saying this? We're supposed to go to his chest, or the sword has been stuck for years. These flames keep spreading. I don't know what they're talking about. Oh, okay. Loki's just been stabbed by a huge sword made out of fire now. Blade of Hatred Stigma. That looks painful. Is Loki dead? Is he gonna walk that off? Because that huge panel of Luffy getting stabbed by Imu's Hatred Stigma blade, or whatever he's calling it, takes up pretty much this entire page. So much action that I'm actually going to have to just move on to pages 6 and 7, because there's nothing else to say here on these first 2 pages. Okay. Oh, right. Everyone's going to try to break Gunko out of the ice cube. Not sure how helpful or effective that will be. What's going on with this thing? It won't even budge. Nothing works on it. Is it not? Is that not ice? What if it's actually a diamond or something? Diamond? Oh god, of course that lights up Nami's eyes. But if it's anything but ice, then the mountain inside has... The woman inside is definitely suffocated. Oops, dummy. But if I touch it, it feels cold. Or at least I imagine it would. You can't tell? Hey, you got a point if I touch it. Yeah, no, I can't tell either. All the non-humans are touching it. Yes, it's cold! Look behind you. Oh, Loki's here now. He's crashing into the cube. Loki? What? Oh, look out. His hammer's coming down. Ragnar's gonna land on somebody. That's gonna be fun. Well, supposedly this ice can only be undone by Ragnar. So, is Ragnar gonna actually let them undo it? That's the real question. Alrighty, we're on pages 8 and 9 now, because this is moving at an actual brisk pace. Kiriri. Whoa. Huh. Did he just go down? He got stabbed through the chest. Okay. Oh, look, everyone. Whoa. The ice has suddenly begun to melt. Princess Shuri. So the ice just started melting randomly, just like that? Because Loki's out of commission? But why? Luffy's doing something with the flame. He's just flinging it off him, as well as with his coat. And it looks like he's dodging the next big attack from Imu. He's holding his hands like this, and the fire's shooting out like a giant spiral pinpoint thing, which I think would have turned into another sword to try to hit Luffy this time. But it looks like he does not connect. All this action is really making it hard to move the plot forward. We're about to be 10 pages in, and not all that much has happened. Page 10 and 11. Oh, we're cutting away. Western Village, Sea Cloud Port. Team Zolo. What are you doing here? You're one of the 3 demons. Straw Hat Crew. You were in the village earlier. What do you want? You're gonna get hurt. You're the ones who ruined a feast between good old friends. So forget about it. It's just 10 or 20 kids, that's all. My companion will be retrieving the brats in no time, and we'll be out of here, out of your hair, no fuss. Huh. Fancy that. My companion just went towards the village. So my guess is that yours ain't coming back. How civil of Sommers and Zoro to just politely have this conversation. Yeah, mind if I ask why? Because he'll be dead. Oh, Sanji's gonna go kill Killingham. How fitting. Do you have any idea how on top of our game we are? They still have the weird Omen flame rings behind them, buffing them with how much power we don't know. And with that, we're finally going to get to see the reaction I have been waiting what feels like a dozen chapters for. We're going to finally see what Sanji has to say about Rain God Zaza. Pages 12 and 13. Over the western village, rain was pouring down, as though the sky itself was cracked in half. Okay, let's cover the facts. Problem 1. A monster bigger than the giants is taking children away. Response. Unfortunately, I won't be saving the kids. Problem 2. Their wailing mothers are an unbearable sight. Response. Unfortunately, the monster is a woman. I can't kick her. Sanji, standing on business. Added note. The giant warriors refuse to give up on taking back their children. Ripley! Damn it, don't take him away from me. Colin! Mommy! Problem 3. I don't want to see a woman's tears. But I won't take part in that fight, because... That's the end of pages 12 and 13. We get some extra paneling of basically Zaza still trapping a lot of the parents. People are fighting Zaza. Some of the kids are still captured. And Sanji's just commenting on how he can't seem to do anything. But there is one thing Sanji can do. And that's take out Killingham. Which is, I assume, what he's about to clarify on pages 14 and 15. You're the root of the problem. The giants might lose sight of you. But you can't escape from me. Yeah. Looks like Killingham manages to block with his trident. Tougher than you look. Putting a stop to all this, you fool. There's an entire world of difference between toughness and immortality. And that is why you cannot beat me. Even if getting rid of me means that my powers will vanish, I suppose. So go on and try it. Can you eliminate the god of rain? Onward, my blustery deity. Take those brats away. Ooh, very scary. Well, I know what you people are weak against. An amusing thing to say. What is Sanji gonna say? What does Sanji think that the Celestial Dragons are weak about? So are you claiming you could use the color of the Supreme King? Go on and kill me if you can. Ooh, are we gonna find out that the conversation that because Sanji was asking if he had it, he was asking that to Gabon way back. Are we gonna finally get the answer to that? Alrighty, let's move on to pages 16 and 17, which is probably the last 2 pages already. We've only been reading for like 13 minutes. Wow, we're almost down to the end. How do you expect to support your captain, an emperor of the sea? Sorry. Hey, Gramps, what about me? We're getting a flashback to it. Can I use Supreme King Haki? You should have the potential for it. Really? However, in your case, for some reason, you possess a streak of masochistic instability. What? Is that correct? Is that the correct translation of that? You must be a king, too. A king. If you truly want to make Luffy the king of the pirates. There, old Drew boy. Oh, here we go. We get a title match card. Saint Nerona Emu versus Monkey D. Luffy. Emperor of the Sea versus King of the World. Quit calling me all these different names. I'm Luffy. The man will be king of the pirates. So I guess we're going to get to see Sanji use some epic Conqueror's Haki in the next chapter. And since we're done with this chapter, I guess we should just move on to my little segment where I do talk about highlights, predictions, and any little tidbits that I might have missed on a second read-through. So, I think for me, the obvious highlight of the chapter is Sanji's assessment of the situation in the Western Village, because this is something that I've been waiting for a long time. We got a rain goddess. Sanji can't kick a woman. Well, Sanji cannot kick a woman. that plot line resolved exactly as I hoped it would. Sanji has gone there, assessed the situation, is going to leave it to the giant warrior pirates and their parents, so the kids, while he just takes out the actual root of the issue, which actually was kind of the name of the chapter, which ties into that, which makes this actually the highlight of the chapter. This little bit of a assessment. I guess this casual conversation between Summers and Zoro is also kind of funny before it brutally turns into a battle. And then Killingham and Sanji begins, and we end it on the note that Sanji can use Conqueror's Haki, or he should be able to, but isn't yet. And masochistic instability is the reason why he can't. That is such a weird stipulation. Interesting. Well, we got a lot of what I wanted out of this chapter, so that's pretty good. And then I guess we end on the start of the Luffy versus Emu fight, which is probably the start of the final battle of the arc. So this is probably going to be a couple of action chapters moving forward, is my prediction, as we start to resolve these fights one by one. It's starting to look like Sanji's fight is probably going to be the first one that we start adapting, and that's going to be the one that's going to be finishing off first. And then we might get a little bit of the kids being saved. And I bet while we get Sanji's fight, I imagine Zoro's fight with Summers will continue. We might intercut between the two, as well as intercutting between Emus, with Zoro's fight finishing up next. And then after Zoro's fight finishes up, we will then close out the Luffy versus Emu fight, and then we can start moving to the actual end of arc resolution. Other things that are notable. For some reason, after Loki has been beaten, the ice cube that was imprisoning Shuri has started to melt. So at some point in the near future, that has to be resolved, because we don't really know what's going to happen to Gunko. I believe, if I remember correctly, Emu was unable to unthaw that ice. So part of Emu's objective is also probably capturing Gunko and bringing Gunko back, or Shuri, or whatever name we're calling them moving forward. No clue. There's a bit of an identity crisis going on there. And also, I guess at some point before the arc closes out, we're going to have to get the other half of Brook's flashback, where we get some of the holes filled in from Shuri's POV. And I'm sure we will get that before the Elbaph arc actually concludes. So, that's a little bit of my summation of what's going to be happening next, as well as my little view of the highlights of this chapter. And with that, there's not much more to say here. This was a really fast-paced chapter because of how much action was happening in it. So much action was happening that I kind of wish we got at least just like 2 more pages of just talking. Well, on that note, I don't even know what I'm going to grab for the thumbnail. Maybe I'll grab... I guess the obvious one is that, but I want to get something with Sanji in it. So maybe I'll use this Killingham versus Sanji play. Yeah, I'll probably use that. Can you use the color of the Supreme King? Go on and kill me if you can. We also might get to see Sanji Merciful. So if... I think they're basically telling us it's gray area whether or not Luffy doesn't kill his opponent, so Emu is definitely going to leave the arc, probably worse for wear, but defeated. Killingham and Summers, however, are probably going to die. They're basically telling us that they need these characters to die for the plot to resolve, which is a real shame because I really love Summers and Killingham. I kind of hope that we got to see more of them in the future. But that's a little bit of a bummer that I'm sure I can live with. So, moving forward, we're just going to start seeing a lot of these fights resolve. And maybe Emu will give us a little bit more of his backstory, because by the time he's defeated, I'm sure we're going to get a flashback from him and his POV, like we do with every main arc villain. And then I guess other predictions we could talk about just to fill some time is, do we think that Shamrock will end up showing up? Is there anyone else we think that might show up? Like Shanks? Who knows? But I think that's going to be all from me, and we're just going to move into the outro. So, this has been a bit of a shorter recording. Normally these are around 30 minutes, but because of how much action happened, there wasn't much more for me to talk about. So, just a reminder, if you want to know what I'm going to be live and what I'm going to be doing when I go live, the way to keep track of that would be to join my Discord. It's where I keep people updated. Otherwise, if you just watch any video, I'll give at least a few updates of some upcoming things on the channel, because I do that at the beginning and ending of every video that we do on the channel. But because of retention reasons, I'm sure most of you just skip past that, because I actually put chapters on all my videos on YouTube, so if you want to skip these intros and outros, you always can. It's the easy way to figure things out. But I would always recommend you at least listen to the outro, because it's when I'm going to tell you what to do on the channel if you want to stay up to date on what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. It's basically where I do most of my updates. So, channel updates. After this stream, there's going to be some Honkai Star Rail being streamed. So, I'm glad that I put time aside for that, because this turned out to be a really short chapter read. Secondly, I'm probably not going to be streaming Genshin again till Wednesday. And the Sandrone/summer event that I have recorded, I have 12 hours of footage, and it's going to take a while to process through it. So, it might also not be up on the channel till Thursday. There was a lot of technical difficulties and a lot of dropped frames, so I'm going to try to preserve as much quality as I can in the recording and cut out a lot of the broken jank. Well, beyond that, that's all you got from me. I will see you all in the next video. But if you're watching live on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/SheetStreams, then stay tuned. We're going to be continuing. We're not ending the stream. We're just going to be switching what we're doing. To everyone else on YouTube, though, bye-bye.